Near him, stopped, turned, listened. I know why you're angry. I'm angry too. They shot Robert Bandy for doing what any man would do, protecting a woman. And that cop will probably get a medal while Robert's in the hospital fighting for his life. I know. Bumpy paused. Let that sink in. But look around you. Look at what you're burning. Whose stores are these? Whose homes? Yours? You're burning your neighborhood. And tomorrow morning when the smoke clears, who's going to pay to rebuild?
Not the NYPD, not City Hall, you. Voices in the crowd. They deserve it. They shot one of us. Bumpy nodded. You're right. They do deserve it. But here's what they want. They want you to burn your own neighborhood so tomorrow they can roll tanks down these streets and say, see, they're animals. They need to be controlled. They want you to give them an excuse. He pointed at the police line 3 blocks away. Officers in riot gear waiting. You see those cops? They're waiting for you to throw one more brick, file one more store, because when you do, they get to shoot. And when the bodies pile up, they'll blame you, not the cop who shot Robert. You. The crowd was listening now, really listening. So here's what we're gonna do. You are gonna go home. You're gonna check on your families. You're gonna let me handle this. Someone shouted, "What are you gonna do?" Bumpy smiled, cold, dangerous. I'm gonna call the mayor, and I'm gonna tell him that if those cops who caused this aren't gone by tomorrow, next time I won't stop the riot, I'll lead it. 11:52 p.m. The streets were clearing, not because the police ordered it, because Bumpy Johnson did. People were going home. Fires were being put out. By the time the National Guard rolled into Harlem at midnight, there was nothing to suppress. The riot was over. The guard commander radioed the mayor. "Sir, the situation is contained. We don't understand it, but the streets are empty." Mayor LaGuardia sat in his office, confused. His phone rang. "Mayor, you have a call. Says his name is Bumpy Johnson." LaGuardia hesitated. He knew the name. Every politician in New York knew the name. But Bumpy Johnson didn't call mayors. Mayors pretended men like Bumpy didn't exist. "Put him through." Bumpy's voice came through the line, calm, almost friendly. "Mr. Mayor, this is Bumpy Johnson. We haven't been formally introduced, but I think you know who I am." "Mr. Johnson."
"I'm aware of your reputation." "Good. Then you know I just did your job for you. I stopped a riot your police couldn't handle. 10,000 people were in those streets, and I sent them home. You're welcome." LaGuardia bristled. "I don't recall asking for your help." "You didn't have to. See, unlike you, I actually live in Harlem. These are my people, and I'm not going to let them destroy themselves because your cops don't know how to act civilized. Officer Collins has been suspended."
"Pending investigation." "Suspended?" Bumpy's voice went cold. "That's not gonna cut it." "Excuse me? Here's what's gonna happen, Mr. Mayor. Officer Collins, gone. Not suspended, fired. And every other officer in that precinct who's beaten a black citizen without cause, I have names. 8 of them. They're gone too. You can't demand. I'm not demanding. I'm informing. Because here's the deal. I stopped this riot. But next time some cop puts his hands on one of my people, I
"Won't stop it, I'll arm it. You think tonight was bad? Tonight was me showing restraint." Silence on the line. "You can't threaten the mayor of New York City." Bumpy laughed. "I'm not threatening you, Mr. Mayor. I'm offering you a solution. You want peace in Harlem? You want your police to be able to patrol without getting bricks thrown at them? Then you clean house. You get rid of the cops who think their badge gives them the right to beat black people. You do that, and I guarantee you won't have another riot. And if I don't, then next time I won't make a phone call. I'll make a statement, and you'll have a war on your hands." LaGuardia sat in his office, staring at the phone. He knew Bumpy was right.
He knew Collins was dirty. He knew at least half the Harlem precinct was corrupt. But firing cops, especially white cops, at the demand of a black gangster would be political suicide. But so would another riot. I'll look into it. You've got 72 hours, Mr. Mayor. After that, I can't control what happens.
The line went dead. August 4th, 1943. 3 days later, the New York Times ran a small story on page 7. 8 NYPD officers dismissed following internal review. No details, no names, just gone. Officer James Collins was fired and charged with assault. The charges were later dropped, but he never wore a badge again. The people of Harlem knew who was responsible. Not the mayor, not the NYPD commissioner, Bumpy Johnson. Mayor LaGuardia never publicly acknowledged the phone call, but for the rest of his term, he was careful about Harlem, careful about police conduct, because he understood something that night. Bumpy Johnson had more power in those streets than any politician, and that power came from respect, from loyalty, from being the one person who stood between the community and the system trying to crush it. Years later, in 1965, when Malcolm X was assassinated, the NYPD asked Bumpy Johnson to help keep the peace. They didn't call the mayor, they called Bumpy, because they knew who really ran Harlem.
Bumpy Johnson died in 1968. At his funeral, thousands lined the streets not because he was a gangster, because he was a protector. A man who understood that sometimes the only way to stop violence is to have the courage to stand in the middle of it and say enough. August 1st, 1943, Bumpy Johnson stopped a riot by refusing to let his people destroy themselves. And then he made the most powerful white man in New York answer for the violence his police caused. That's not just power, that's legacy. If this story of how Bumpy stopped a war with one voice hit different, hit that subscribe button. We're telling the real stories of Harlem's protector, the moments that made him a legend. Drop a like if you think Bumpy Johnson had more power than the mayor. Comment, would you have made that phone call? More legendary stories coming next. Don't miss it.